Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. God bless you. You know, it's interesting. I'm doing an event in Seaside, Florida in the fall, and we're selling spots to that, to retreat in Seaside. And a person the other day I was selling said, now, I want to go to, which one is Monty Moore going to be at? That's what I want to sign up for. And so he is a person of interest, right? And people of interest, I believe this. I believe like-minded people attract other like-minded people. How many people believe that? Okay? Like gravitates toward like. Association breeds assimilation. Energy cannot be created. It can only be transferred. So when you think about this, I want you to think you're here today for a reason, right? You're here because you may be attracted to the concept. And my first business coach said, before you become big-time coach, always create killer concepts. And they will be attracted first to the concept, and then that'll give them a chance to be attracted to you. So when I first started writing books, I tried to come up with big, huge concepts. Person of interest, zebras and cheetahs, $1 million machine, right? Everybody needs a coach in life. $1 million follow-up. These are big concepts. And so today we're going to unpack this concept called $1 Million Machine. And we're here with Carey Ann Cyr, and she's not in the room right now, but let me tell you a funny story because we can all relate to this. How many of you have ever showed up to pitch your services to someone that you thought could really be a game changer for you, and you did an absolute awful job pitching your services? Anybody done it before? I did that. Carey, I'm telling a story about you. Is somebody introduced me and brought me over here to CMG and said, you got to work with Carey Ann Cyr, you got to work with Carey Ann Cyr. And I walked in and I did an absolutely miserable job of sharing my services. So at the end of that, there was really nothing. And I felt so bad, I called her back and I said, I don't do this a lot, but can I have a redo with you? And I came back over and I did a much better job the second time, and she hired me as her coach, and she's been with me now, 3 years? She's been with me, one of my favorite coaching clients, and the numbers and what she does is just phenomenal. Both Monty and her inspire me every day. The people I work with inspire me. Okay, and that means breathe life into. They breathe life into me. I love working with people where there's a vested partnership. It's not a one-sided relationship where you do all the work and they complain about it. I like working with cool people that we both get better together. That is a vested partnership, right? And so you got two people in here that are very special. Now, when you start building your business, I was a high school women's basketball coach for a decade. I got paid on the 25th of every month, same amount. Didn't matter how many games I won, how many I lost. When I won a championship, I didn't make any more money than I did the year before. I did not get paid on results. I got paid on just showing up. You follow me? And at 31 years old, after I had worked for 12 straight years, 80 hours a week, I used to work 8 hours a day on Sunday. I'd get up and go to church, and I'd go straight to my office and work for 8 straight hours every week, 80-hour work weeks, and I made $2,500. That was my salary, right? And along the way, around 25 years old, I write a book, my first little book called Changing Lives Through Coaching, because I believe a good coach can change your life. Now, how many of you have ever had a good coach? Raise your hand. Somewhere along the way. Every now and then I'll meet a person in the country that says, I've never had a good coach, but most likely, somewhere you had a good mentor, good boss, good leader, good coach, right? So at 25 years old, I say, I need to write a book called Changing Lives Through Coaching, because I believe a good coach can change your life. Why? Because you cannot see the picture when you're inside the frame. You can't stir the pot when you're inside the bowl. You actually need an objective person looking at your life, looking at your business, who can say, you got 2 missing structures. If you just feel these 2 missing structures, man, right? He mentioned some of the old greats. You're sitting on acres of diamonds. That's what I tell people. You're sitting on acres of diamonds if you just feel, but you can't see that. See, I have people coaching me because they can see things I can't see, right? And so I write this little book at 25, and here's the parallel I begin to see. Mamas and daddies would drop their daughters off to me at 14 years old, and they all said the same thing, okay? They said, Coach, my daughter's got a lot of, what? Potential. Every now and then they said issues, and they were right about that. But the mamas and daddies would drop their daughter off, and they'd all say the same thing. Coach, I've heard my daughter has got to play for you. Out of everywhere we could take her, we have heard. Is that a referral, yes or no? Yeah. That our daughter needs to play for you. Now why? I said, well, we teach our players the 7 habits of highly effective people. The principles of good to great. 5 dysfunctions of teams. 5 disciplines of a learning organization. The power of intention. Imagine your 14-year-old daughter learning those things at 14. You think that would give her an advantage in the world? So what I built was a little greatness factory. Right? As you brought your daughter to us and we put her into my little greatness factory and we pumped her out on the other side, and I said, when I'm done with your daughter, she will be able to do anything she wants to. She wants to run for president of the United States. She'll have so much confidence, so much knowledge, so much skill, so much desire, so much confidence that she can literally do anything she wants. And so people would come to us and say that. Now, at 25 when I wrote that book, companies began to call me. State Farm, Dale, National Healthcare, some of the biggest home builders in the country, mortgage companies, real estate. And here's what's so interesting is they would say, Coach, we got a lot of good people. And they got a lot of what? No issues. Y'all got to pay attention. They say, we got a lot of good people, Coach. But we all got issues. And they'd say, they got a lot of potential. They just need something. What did the mamas and daddies say that their daughters needed? You got kids? I got a 4-year-old daughter right now. My daughter and I sit down every night and write our goals out for the next day. She's 4. Wouldn't it be great to be my kid? And I'm like, get your notebook, because we're going to plan out our day tomorrow. And I need at least 3 goals that you're going to hit tomorrow. Okay, 4 years old. She can't even write. But she'll get her notebook and she'll write out, be a good girl, be a good listener, obey mom and daddy. Okay, and I always say, what's your best goal? Be able to watch Strawberry Shortcake when I get home. Good. And kids are so brutally honest. We'll pick her up from school and I'm like, was you a good girl? You know what she's like? Nope, not today, Daddy. So you can't watch Strawberry Shortcake? Nope, not today, Daddy. But if I could train her at 4 to map her days out. Do you know how many people I work with today that are still not mapping their days out? They come into the day, no strategy, no plan, no targets, no purpose, no momentum, right? And I'm teaching a 4-year-old how to do that. So I can ask her, did you hit your goals? In the morning when I send her off to school, what are we doing today? Something big. She looks at me, something big, Daddy, not small. Is it not hypocritical for us to tell our children they have potential if they're not seeing us reach ours? So when mamas and daddies would say my daughter's got potential, I'd say, hey, they seeing you reach your potential? See, my daughter needs to see me reaching my potential, right? Just because I'm 40 don't mean I'm done with potential. Matter of fact, I'm not even close to my potential. You're not even close to your potential. So what's happening is you're playing at a level and you're in a dynamic state. And I tell people when we get in this $1 million machine that here's the 3 states that you're in. These are the 3 states every person, every business is in today. You are either in a dynamic state. Let me give you some words for dynamic. On fire, motivated, inspired, energetic. Let me tell you what else that is. Attractive. Everybody with me? Attractive. If your business is dynamic, I move toward it. Okay? Now, here's the problem. If we're not in dynamic, here's where a lot of people are. As a matter of fact, in the United States, 67% of people say they're disengaged with their work. That's 7 out of 10 people that's disengaged with their work, and they are static. Give me some other words for static.
Stuck.
Stuck. Dead. Vanilla. Yeah. Yeah. Bored. How about this one? Complacent. Gradual settling to a place of mediocrity. That sounds sexy, doesn't it? Just go out there and gradually settle to a place of mediocrity. Why do we reach static state? You see, I retired at 31 years old from coaching for one reason. I was at the top of my game. I was going to continue to win championships. The place I used to coach at has now won 5 more championships after I left. Okay? I was going to keep winning. I was bored. Can you be bored at the top of your game just like you are at the bottom? Yes or no? See, don't ever misunderstand this. Don't misunderstand and think that complacency just sets in for lazy people. There are lazy people that are complacent, but I also coach people making $5 million a year that are bored out of their minds. So complacency sits in when you are not in a dynamic state. You are not driving your personal potential. And nobody knows that except you. Okay? I don't know what your agreement with the universe is. I don't know how big you're supposed to be on planet Earth. I don't know how many people you're supposed to impact. But I knew this, 30 people a year was not enough for me. So people still ask me today, do you miss coaching? Do you miss coaching? Do you miss coaching? No, I don't miss coaching because what I'm doing now is bigger than what I was doing then. You follow me? And I was in New York City this past week promoting my book. I was on Good Day New York. 1 million people watched that show. And listen, when you go to New York City, you see how fast people are moving in New York City. You come back to Tennessee, what do you say? We are moving way too slow. See, every time I go to a big city and come back, that's what I think. My mind is expanded. I see new architecture. I see new people. I see new things. And I'm like, man, we got to move faster. We're moving too slow. We're moving at a turtle's pace here. right? But how do I know that unless I get to a bigger place? Everybody with me here? I can't see the picture when I'm inside the frame. Now, what happens is when we're not in a static state, then we move entropic. We move entropic. Now, lots of businesses are entropic, disintegration. How many people right now are solopreneur? That means one person in your business. No employees, just you. Anybody in here? Okay, we've got a lot of real estate agents, a lot of people. What's the problem with staying small? You can't grow. How many people can you really help with one person? How big can you get with one person? How much impact can you have with one person? You can't grow. There's only one of you. There's only 24 hours in a day, right? And so what happens is, this is why so many small businesses, there's 28 million small businesses in the United States. 21 million of those have one employee. That's why you hear 4 out of 5 go out of business. You know what? You get tired. You get to a static state and then you get entropic. Okay? Now we have the American dream of we need to work until we're 59 and a half years old, and then we get to do what? Retire. What happens next? Yeah, somebody the other day said, you die. Okay, that's it. That's what happens. Here's what happens. Joe Paterno was still coaching at 84 years old. They fired him from that job. It's the one of his true passions, and within 6 months he was dead. They took away, right? My grandfather worked his whole life with his hands, built houses, sold cattle, had a cabinet, was always engaged in his life. He was always got up every morning with something to work toward. He retired, and my mother said the day after he retired, everything in his life went downhill. His health went downhill, his mind went downhill, everything. He actually skipped the static stage and went straight to entropic because he didn't have something to get up and fight for. You with me here? So don't ever buy into the goods. We're going to work our whole lives, and 59 and a half, we're going to retire. And there's only so much golf you can play. There's only so many times you sit on the back patio. Does that make sense? You need something so big and so juicy and so exciting that you can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. And here's the deal. Your goals are not big enough unless somebody's trying to keep you from getting them. You with me? Unless somebody's trying to take them away from you or keep you from getting them, they're not big enough. That's what I would tell you. Okay? So, and if you're not attracting any disgruntled people or haters or negative people, then you know what? You're not doing anything. Right or wrong? Right. You're just not doing anything. So I got to keep you in this. So think about this. Look at that piece in the middle. Energy. Energy. Look at the definition for power. A means or supply of energy or power. A means or source for supplying energy. See, I want my real estate agent to supply me energy, not subtract energy from me. You with me? I want people that I work with to supply energy to me, not subtract energy from me. Because you can subtract energy from me by having a negative attitude, listening to your moods or feelings, detracting something from my time and energy, right? You can subtract energy from me. I'm looking for people, and that's why people are attracted to people of interest. People of power and influence, because they are supplying energy. You follow me here? And if you're not supplying it, then where do I get it from? So this makes your business very attractive. When your business is very attractive, what happens? Your leads go up. How many people would like to have a lot more leads? Yeah, listen, I'm getting leads today everywhere. I get them on Facebook every week, LinkedIn. I get them on Snapchat. I get them on Instagram. I get them through email. I get them through phone calls. I don't care where they come in. I just want to supply so much energy to the world that I attract back people to me. Does that make sense? And I multiply the number of leads that I'm getting, because that drives every business. So what I'm going to share with you today, I've actually never shared. And I've never shared it because I've been being coached by these guys in New York City, and they use a different colorful language in New York City than they do in Tennessee. And what they do is they come in and they extract everything from me that I've spent the last 10 years building for people. And they say, here's what it is you're really selling. How many of you don't really know what it is you're selling? Like you think you're selling houses or LED lights or whatever the case may be, books. What you're really selling is an outcome. What you're really selling is how you make people feel. What you're really selling is something else. Well, what I'm really selling to the people I coach, like Carey Ann and Monty and other people in the room, are systems, structures, processes. So when most agents come to me, here's the things they say. I don't have a selling system. I don't have enough ways to get leads. I don't have a 7-touch follow-up. I don't have a way to extract 6 referrals from every deal. Well, what you're missing are big structures that you really need. Or some people say, I need accountability. Because I always start with good intention, and then I always fall off the wagon, and I always feel guilty about it, right? So what I'm going to show you today is what we're calling the $1 million machine. How do you make you bigger than you? How many people think they need better systems and structures in their business? Right? And what if I told you we could help you build a machine? See, what I've really built is a machine. And this machine is like a locomotive. And it's just running and running and running. You follow me here? And what that's doing is generating interest and generating leads by supplying power to the world and energy. Everybody follow me here? Okay? So I'm going to teach you $1 million machine. I've never taught this before to anybody. Okay? Now, here's what I want you to get. Some foundation material. Number one, I got to demystify selling. Because a lot of people think selling is very difficult. Selling is around one premise. Money only changes hands when problems are solved. Can everybody get that concept? Don't ever forget this. Money is exchanged from my pocket to your pocket when I have a problem and you convince me that you can solve it better than anybody else. Okay? That's all selling is. Now let me tell you why it's easy. Because a lot of people got a lot of problems. Right or wrong? So let me give an example. If you're in the home, if you're a real estate person in the room, I used to live in a real crappy apartment when I was 21 years old called Colony House in Murfreesboro. I thought it was big time, you know. I mean, me and my roommate, we lived there and we thought it was big time and we had our own place and, you know. And then I got this job at Riverdale, this big coaching job early. I was 21, 22 years old and I graduated from college on Saturday and they hired me as the head coach the next Thursday. So 5 days after I graduated, I was a head coach at the second largest high school in Tennessee. That's a big jump for a person, okay? Because last week I was trying to get into Club La Vila, and this week I'm a big coach. Does that make sense? Everybody follow me here? Y'all been to Club La Vila, haven't you? So now I got this big role, and I'm in this big job, and now I'm a professional, and I got to get up and be at work every day, okay? Except who is in the apartment above me is running some kind of business, and I can't figure out what it is, but it happens at night, and it's real loud with music. Y'all with me? Yeah. I don't know what kind of business. I don't know if they run a nightclub. I don't know what's happening. But now I got a what? Problem. So what do I start saying? I need my own house. Now who's going to solve that problem for me? Who's going to help me find my first little house? Realtor. Everybody with me? Now here's the problem you got. There's 4,000 of you. That's your problem. So let me give you some stats you need to remember. 67% of people in real estate use the very first person that contacts them. 67%. This is why speed to leads is important. When a lead comes into my office, I ask my team, how fast can you get back to them? I don't wait till the end of the day to get back to them. If nothing else, get back to them within a few minutes and let them know you're going to get back to them. Because speed is critical. And I get back to people all the time. And they'll be like, man, that was so fast. That shows I'm interested in you. I'm interested in your business, right? I don't say, well, let me get to you 3 days from now. 67% of people in real estate use the very first person that contacts them. Now, let me tell you why that is a problem. I didn't say they use the best real estate agent, the best looking real estate agent, the most experienced real estate agent. Which one did they use? The first one, which is both good and bad for you. Because they could use, and that's exactly what I did. I asked a buddy of mine who can represent me. He gave me a real estate agent. I didn't know any better, so I used the very first one. Now, here's the philosophy. I live in my little 2-bedroom condo that was $119,000, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But somewhere along the way, I got convinced that I had a new problem, and I need my own bigger house. Does that make sense? So now, during the recession, I find a bigger house, and I say, who's going to solve this problem? Who can help me, right? And I use a different real estate agent. And you know why I use a different real estate agent? Because the first real estate agent never called me back once he put me in my first home. So here's a stat. 98% of agents never call customers back once they put them in a home. 98%. This is very, very bad business. This will apply across any business, really. Now, you say, why is that so bad, Coach Burt? Because every real estate transaction you do, National Association of Realtors tells us it should be worth 5.7 referrals. over the lifetime of the customer. Average person buys 4 houses over the course of their lifetime. Number 1, you should get all 4 of those. Number 2, you should get 5 referrals off every one, right? So I look at every deal as 6 deals. You follow me here? And I always annualize things. So I believe this: every day with your current customer is an interview for your next customer. Do you believe that? Yes or no? Well, a lot of people don't ever call that current customer back. So they put them in a home, then they got to go out and go get it again and go find another one again. I want to extract and optimize that current relationship so much that I get 6 referrals out of every deal I do, right? And that only happens when I get my clients to a much better state in their life. Okay? That's when that happens. And so that agent never calls me back, so I use another agent. Okay? So the first guy lost the second deal on me because he never called me back. Or if he did call me back, he followed up with very weak touches. Like an email that said, here's the absorption rate of your subdivision. Okay, I'm 23. I don't know what the absorption rate means. What does that mean? Would you like to know the absorption rate of your subdivision? No, I would not, okay? I don't even know what that means. So that's how he followed up with me. And in his mind, he thought he was following up with me. Never called me. Never stayed involved in my life. Never checked on me. Never came watching me coach a game at Riverdale. Never got in the boat with me. My current real estate agent takes me to breakfast every Saturday morning. He calls me 2 and 3 times a day. He was the best man in my wedding. It's going to be hard for you to get me out of that relationship, right or wrong? Right or wrong? Right. See how deep he's going? Now he's doing that with 25 other people too, because that's what he does. So when I buy commercial, short-term, long-term, okay, I was looking at an airplane last night. He probably wants to represent me on that too. Here's my point though. He knows how to get in the boat. Well, my first couple of deals, right? So I buy a second house. Didn't like the subdivision. Now I got a new problem. Now I move out of that to a new house, right? And I built the perfect house for a bachelor. I mean perfect. Pool house, separate house, awesome. And then I got married. Then I got a new problem. Not in a bad way. My beautiful bride says to me after we have a daughter, you know what she says to me? Coach. She calls me coach too. She said, you know what you didn't do? You didn't build this house for a family. Now I got a new problem. Somebody's got to help me find my new house. And you know what? Every time I bought houses, I bought bigger ones. Everybody with me here? So if you were my real estate agent, you already got 4 deals out of me if you'd have done the job the first time. Not only that, you probably got at least 5 or 6 referrals out of me if you just stayed in the boat with me, right? But most agents do not do any of the things I just shared with you. So money changes hands when problems are solved. Everybody got that? So when you're selling, all you're doing is looking for problems. House is too small, don't like the subdivision, don't like the bathroom, don't like my psychopathic neighbor, don't like because people don't like my dogs. You understand what I'm saying? These are all problems. What your job is to convince people that you can solve their unique problem better than anybody else. That's what the business you're in. Okay? Now, we can drive down the probability of selling or drive up the probability of selling. How do we drive down the probability of selling? Because selling is a game of probability, isn't it? An agent does this to drive down the probability. Show up, no plan, no hit list, no conversations during the day, 2-hour lunches. The best thing about being a real estate agent is you got freedom. Worst thing about being an agent is what? You got freedom. Day like today, it's pretty outside, go to lunch, little Mexican restaurant, 3 margaritas, afternoon shot. That make sense? Hey, y'all have done this before. Y'all know. I've seen you. I follow you on Snapchat. I know what's going on at the Mexican restaurants. Now, hey, I'm good with that. But my point is that this is a problem. Because the big agents I coach that make over $1 million a year, let me tell you what they do. They show up every morning. They're in their office every day. Everybody with me? Because I see a lot of agents don't want to go to the office. You know what's at the office? Energy. Left to my own devices. I could work home if I wanted to in my pajamas. But you know what? When I'm at home in my home office, ain't any energy there. Just me. When I get around my team, my energy goes up. So you could work by yourself, but you need to get your hind end in the office. And you know what the top ones do? They're prospecting every day for at least 2 hours. Every day. They're having a minimum of 10 conversations a day. Ever how many conversations you got to have? And you know why? Because they get great on the phone. You know what happens? Bill, how many sales calls did you make yesterday?
Not enough. 37.
37. So Bill's on my team. Okay, he's my, I call him Dr. Bill, the selling machine. He made 37 calls yesterday. One after another, after another, after another, after another. You know what happens when you make 37 calls a day, 5 days a week? You know how good you get on the phone? You know how good you get at pivoting? You're saying, man, it seems like a lot of work. It's called work for a reason. It is work. The big agents are in there every day. You follow me? Every day they're in there grinding it out. So they're driving up the probability of selling. Okay? And today I'll show you how I drive up the probability of selling through video, podcast, social media, LinkedIn. What I do is put so much stuff out that I attract people in. And they come in that funnel, and once they get in our selling cycle, we take them through a quick cycle. And here's what I'm trying to figure out. How fast can I get them to say yes? Everybody with me? How do we compress the sales cycle? So something I ask a lot is, have you seen enough to make a decision? Have you seen enough to make a decision? And if you haven't, we haven't done a good job of explaining our value to you, right? So we can drive it up or we can drive it down. Now here's the first thing you got to know, and this is what's called the key relationship, or some people call it the fundamental relationship, is you have got to get clarity about your unique skill set, i.e. what you bring to the party. And then you've got to get clarity about who would write you the largest check for that skill set. So let me ask you this question. What's the largest check you've ever cashed? And who wrote it to you? And where did it start? And the big question is, why haven't you gone back there and got another one? See, we go out every day, we fish for bluegills versus blue marlins. You can fish in Percy Priest Lake for bluegills, or you can fish in the Gulf of Mexico for blue marlins. Right or wrong? In 08-09, who was writing me the biggest check were home builders. Right in the middle of the recession, their goals were not to lose a couple $1 million, and they were hiring me. Today, mortgage companies write me the biggest check. So if you told me to go out and start prospecting, would you tell me to go out there and chase 25-year-olds? No. You know what you said? Find every big mortgage company in the country, try to get on their radar, get their attention. If you're working with $5 billion mortgage companies, how do you get $15 and $20 billion mortgage companies? Because they write you the biggest checks. Everybody with me here? Well, here's my question. Where does it start? The largest check you've ever cashed, where did it start? What's the genealogy of it? Like, did you meet them at a networking event? Did you meet them at an event? Did you meet where you referred them? Because here's what we do. We don't get strategic in how we sell. We just go out there and put a bunch of stuff out and hope somebody comes in. And we wonder why we're working with so many crazy people. Like gravitates toward like, right? Association breeds assimilation. If you're attracting crazies, it's saying something about you. But sometimes fountains attract drains. So here's what you got to get clarity of. What is it you've really got? And who will pay for it for you to solve their problem? Everybody with me here? So let me give you some examples. So when I say, and I write about this in my new book, Everybody Needs a Coach in Life, when I talk about your birthday gifts, here's what I'm really saying. There's gifts you got that you've never even opened. There's birthday, when were they given to you? At birth. They were factory installed in you by the manufacturer. You've never even opened them. How many classes did you have in finding your unique talents, your unique skill sets? Because that's what you're really selling. You're not selling me the fact that you can represent me on a house. You're selling me on, I can negotiate better than anybody else. I can get you 10% more money than anybody else can. I can get you more money per square foot than anybody else can. I can diffuse very intense situations with humor. I can regulate your emotions during this real estate experience better than anybody else can. I can get more exposure for your house better than anybody else can. That's what you're selling me. Everybody with me? So my real estate agent does three things really well. He gets more eyeballs on properties than anybody else. So in my particular house, he did a cool video when I was selling my house, did a cool video, added music. We walked through the house and I explained every room. They added music to it. He Facebook sponsored it, had 10,000 views in the first day. The woman who bought my house saw it on Facebook, on the video. She wasn't even looking to buy a house. She convinced her husband to buy the house because she saw it on Facebook because she liked my back patio. Isn't that interesting? So what did he do? He got me more attention for my house than anybody else would. You with me? He also regulates emotion better than anybody else. Means real estate and dealing with money gets emotional. So what he does is keep that emotion steady. And he tells you up front, the reason you're hiring me because nobody can regulate emotion better than me. The reason you're hiring me is because I do this, this, and this. If you don't have clarity about that, you're just a realtor. If you're just a realtor, there's 4,000 other of you. Does that make sense? And why do I need you if I can get you anywhere else, right? When two opinions are the same, one of those opinions is unnecessary. So what I've got to do, and you say, why? This seems kind of basic. Where did you learn in class how to separate and differentiate yourself? I mean, I went to college for 9 years to get 3 degrees. I never had one class, not one class, in how to find what made me unique, how to package it, and how to sell it. That's what you're selling. You're not selling, I'm a realtor. You're selling, I have a very special skill set. I'm really a businessman or a businesswoman, and I've got a very specialized skill set. And the reason you need me is because I can do this and this and this better than anybody on planet Earth. Everybody follow me here. And if you don't know what it is, how are you going to sell it to me? So you got to get clarity. Some superior ability, detected typically early in life. How do I know if it's a unique ability of yours? It compounds your energy. Doesn't drain it. If it drains your energy when you do it, it's not a unique ability. You should get energy when you're in your unique ability area. And here's the best part. When you are really distributing your talents to the world at a very high level, how do you get compensated? The people that distribute their talents to the world at high levels make the most money. They get the most love, the most appreciation, the most attention. You actually get paid in 6 ways. You don't just get paid in money. You get paid in love and affirmation and appreciation and referrals and reputation. There's a lot of ways you get paid, right? I guarantee some of you love helping first-time home buyers. And you know why you like working with first-time home buyers? Number one, they listen to you. But number two, there's something about putting a little person in the first little house they've ever had. Right or wrong? Now, there ain't no money there. You can sell $179,000 houses, or you can sell $1 million houses. You're still solving the same problem. You do get that, right? Blue gills or blue marlins. There's a place for both of them, right? You got to decide what your skill set supports. So when you're thinking about this, I'd call it the 2 secrets. Is you got a secret, which is your potential, and I got a secret in how to unlock it. If they're kept separate, we never can get to the next level. Does that make sense? In the book of John, I was reading yesterday in John 4:34, it talks about how the sower and the reaper enjoy the harvest together. Isn't that good? Because if this works right between you and I sow into you, we should both reap the harvest together. Does that make sense? You can't do it without me, and I can't do it without you. And my best clients, like Monty, Carey Ann, we reap the harvest together. Everybody follow me here? They promote me, I promote them. We're in the boat. It's a vested partnership. It's not a one-sided relationship. That's how you need to be thinking. My job is to get you to such a better state in your life, you're going to go tell other people how great it was. It's not a transaction. I'm going to transform your whole deal through a relationship with me. You with me here? Okay? Now, let's get into this $1 million machine piece, because there are 4 big problems every business has. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm going to let you talk in just a second to each other about what you think your biggest problem are. I'm going to rework the word problem, and I'm going to say missing structure. Because a missing structure is a whole lot less offensive than saying you got 3 problems, right? I don't care what you sell for a living, because we've got different industries in here. You're going to have one of these 4 missing structures. One big missing structure is you do not have a selling system, which is a consistent, systematic way in which you drive leads and new customers. The purpose of any business is to create a customer. Is it possible for you to be so busy being fabulous during the day that you did not do one thing today to get a new customer? Is that possible? Here's what I hear a lot of people say. Just so busy. I'm just so busy. I'm just so busy is a frame of mind. I'm like, you're only doing 2 deals a month, man. You ain't that busy. I mean, I see people doing 10 times the amount you're doing. They don't use the word busy. There's 2 words you need to eliminate from your vocabulary. One is busy, one is overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is a state of mind. There's 2 types of money problems. You don't have enough, or you got so much you don't know what to do with it. Which one would you rather have? You know how many leads I want? I want so many leads coming in that we can't even handle them. That we have to continue to hire and hire and hire and hire and hire and hire. You see what I'm saying? I want to be so overwhelmed with leads. That tells us our business is attractive. You follow me here? So in 08, 09, when I was coaching real estate people, they were overwhelmed. You know why? They didn't have any business. Now people are saying, I'm so busy, I'm so overwhelmed. Which one would you rather have? Too much? Not enough. So we eliminate those words. I never hear big time people I'm coaching use those two words. They never say I'm too busy, and they never say I'm overwhelmed. Never. Those are very words that miniature producers use. Okay? It's all a state of mind. So first problem is a selling system. How do you get customers? How many strategies do we need today to drive enough leads to get enough customers? How many think we need? A bunch. We're constantly teaching 10 to 15 strategies to get customers. Most people have 3. So I asked this question, how do you get customers? What do you think people tell me? Boy, that is a good question, Coach. That's a real good question. Well, do a little networking. Do a little bit of referrals. Everybody always goes referrals, right? Which I think is still the lazy man's way to get business. You ought to be getting referrals because you overpromise and overdeliver, right or wrong? Too many people rely on referrals, and they say, well, I get referrals, and here's what I ask. How many referrals are you getting? Out of every customer you got, how many referrals are you getting? They never can tell me. They're like, well, you know, I got one 7 weeks ago. And you're telling me you're building your entire business on that. So the first problem we got is we got no selling system. That's a systematic way to get customers. Second problem is we don't have a disciplined follow-up. This is where a lot of people fall off the wagon. Okay? That means someone has indicated interest in using you or buying a house or doing something. See, right now there's 258 million people on the internet. Right now as we speak, half of those people are looking at real estate. 125 million people right now, at this very moment, are looking at real estate. Why do you think Rupert Murdoch bought Realtor.com for $1 billion? It is now worth $3 billion. What does he want to control? The information and the leads. If I can control the information and the leads, how valuable is that to you? Because I can sell it to you. Zillow, Trulio, Realtor.com. I work with a company in Minnesota that owns 100% of the listings in MLS. 100%. They went to the Justice Department, spent $13 million, fought every MLS in the country, and they own 100% of the listings in the MLS. Now, let me tell you why that's valuable. When you have 100% of the listings on every MLS all over the country, every time a person goes and looks at real estate, looks at a house, they know it. They can turn around and give that to you if you pay for it. And so every time I look at a house in Cool Springs, it notifies them, which turns around and notifies the real estate agent and the mortgage originator. Okay, and now you know where all the leads are. Because I've looked at the same house in Cool Springs 7 times. You know what it says? Call them. They got a creepy feature on this thing that if a person drives within 60 feet of an open house, it'll notify you. That's creepy, isn't it? So imagine Tim going out on a Sunday afternoon looking at houses. You're just chilling out by the pool. Tim gets within 60 feet of that open house, sends you an email that says, Tim's looking at this open house right now, call him. You call him and say, hey, I don't know if you're out looking at houses today. It's a beautiful day. But if you are, what if one of your people's cheating on you? What if one of your people is out there looking at open houses, talking to other real estate agents, and you don't know it? Now you do know it because you know what they're doing. This is where technology is going. You do get that, right? This is where it's going. Control of information is where the world is going, guys, whether you believe it or not. Okay? So my point to you is now we get leads, but here's the problem. We can't get agents to do what? Can't get them to follow up. I know people spending $500,000 a year that can't get their agents to follow up. $500,000 on leads, drive the leads, can't get agents to follow up with them. The average sale takes 7 to 15 touches 80% of the time. Everybody with me here? So once you know a person is interested, you got to go the 7 touches, man. So this is a problem. Number 3 is this. How many referrals should every deal be worth to you? How many? 5.7. So what a lot of people are doing is they're not creating experience and extracting those 5.7 referrals. We live in a microwave world. And the fourth problem they got is they don't have a person of interest strategy to drive up their value in the market to have leads come to them. So they're not becoming people of interest, which is really what we need to do. So I want you to take a second right now, tell the person beside you, out of these 4 problems, what's your biggest problem that you got right now? And all progress starts by telling the truth, by the way, okay? So don't lie about it, all right? Take off. What do you think, guys? Biggest problem? Okay, good. What about here, ladies? Okay, good. All right. Now we know, right?
never saw, and I was telling him, sometimes I got the idea, I'm like, wait, should I follow up that way? Should I procrastinate?
All right. Now, you see how easy it is to identify where your missing structures are when we put it like this? Listen, every person in the world, we have the same problems you do, guys. We're all screwed up. Right? All of us are. Here's the deal. It takes another person to say, look, if you just fixed your follow-up, you'd make $1 million more. If you just had a selling system, you'd make a lot more money. If you just slowed down long enough to create a great experience for your customers, you would get more referrals. Now, the reason people don't do this is because it takes a long obedience in the same direction. We want a person to call in and on the first phone call, commit, say yes, we get our commission check. That's not how the world works. Okay, I heard Charles Stanley say once, we always reap what we sow more than we sowed it for longer than it was sown. I don't know when the harvest is going to come in, but let me tell you something. If you study farming, when the harvest does come in, it ain't an easy time. We think we're going to sow, and it's going to be easy. You ask a farmer when the hardest time to work is. It's when the harvest comes in. Up at dawn, work all day, don't go to bed, don't stop working, right? So see, right now what's happening in my life is I've been sowing for 10 years. So I was able to get on Good Day New York, where I started, some little crappy station in McMinnville with 500 watts and nobody listening. And I did 300 shows on WLAC, 300 shows with 15 people listening. You with me? So hopefully all that sowing is now going to come in, but now we're going to be busier than we've ever been because now it's all coming in. Everybody follow me here? Well, real estate's the exact same way. I sow, and then what happens? You wake up and have the biggest month you've ever had. You're like, where did this come from? Well, it came from 6 months ago of doing what you should have done, working a selling system. Okay? So how many people had problem number one? Raise your hand, please. Okay? No selling system. The purpose of any business is to create a customer, so with no customer acquisition strategy, we're really kind of just hoping this works out. You follow me? I want predictability. I want inputs and outputs. So we teach a selling system. We teach hit list, farm club, top 25. Okay? We teach you how to go get more leads. Because without that system, you're not going to get enough leads. And you're not going to have enough revenue. It's just that simple. Okay? How many people have the second problem? Raise your hand. Follow up. Okay? Listen, you work hard to get some interest, don't you? Why would you not go the full 7 touches? If I make up my mind that I'm interested in you, I'm going to go 7 touches. You with me? Now, how do you go? I wrote a book on this called $1 Million Follow-Up. This is one of Monty's favorites. Amen. Monty's got it, carries it everywhere he goes. Look at that. I wrote this little book because I watched how people follow up with me, specifically real estate agents. I just got mad one day and I'm like, man, this is pitiful. It is so pitiful, I'm going to write a book on it. So I looked at a $950,000 property. Here's how the real estate agent followed up with me 4 days later. 4 days later. $950,000 property. 4 days. Did y'all catch that part? So I went, looked at the property. 4 days later, he calls me and says this, Coach, I'm just doing my due diligence here. And I'm like, am I a burden? I hate that. I felt like, I felt like I was a burden to him. Right? Here's how some people follow up. Hey, I was just, I hear this one. Hey, I woke up thinking about you today. That is creepy, okay? If you woke up thinking about me, I hear this. I was thinking about you all night. Or, you were on my list of people to call back. Or I'm just following up with you. Or do you have any questions? Listen, when I follow up with a person, I challenge them. You told me what you want and I brought it to you. Have you seen enough to make a decision? We can have this conversation today or we can have it 6 months from now. You're still going to have the same problem. Everybody with me? I may say every day you don't take action, we lose momentum. If you got to think about this house another night or sleep on it another night, you're probably not going to sleep in it. You see how I challenge the prospect? Number one, why did they come to you to begin with? Why did they come to you? Because you told them you were what? Great. Yeah, you're an expert. Well, if you're going to be an expert, then follow up like an expert. That means create a little bit of healthy tension. Create a defined urgency. I brought it to you. And when people tell me I want 100% of the house, I use my own house for example. Look, I got the house of my dreams right now. It's still on 80% of what I want. I say it's a myth to get you 100% of what you want at the price point you want. If I could get you to 80%, I live in a house that it's got 80% of what I want, but I love it every time I come home. Everybody with me? So you got to set the expectation with people and say, I'm going to take control of this sale, not you. And you're going to do that because why? You're an expert. So follow up with the expert. Do not supplicate. Supplicate means you call them and say, Mickey, I know you're really, really busy, Mickey. If I could just get a few minutes of your time and maybe 30 seconds of your time. That's how some people follow up. You're already supplicating, right or wrong? I'm already put myself in an inferior position. And if you study selling, there are two frames colliding when you're selling something. And one is typically winning and one is losing. So I do not follow up with people and say, hey, you're so busy, if I could just get a minute of your time. I say, look, I got 2 things to tell you. It's going to take me 2 minutes. But it's real important you call me back. You with me? Okay, I called a person the other day and they said it's not a good time to talk. And I said, well, it was not a good time for me to call you either, but I did. Because you asked me to. I joke with them. I have fun with them. You know, I'm not trying to be negative or arrogant. I just have fun with it. It's just selling, right? We had a guy yesterday tell us that he was in another state and it wasn't a good time to talk because he was in another state away from his home state. And I just got on the phone with him. I said, does your brain not work in another state, man? I kind of just joke with people, you know? I'm like, but I'm not going to let you give me a BS response when I follow up with you. I'm not going to let you off the hook. You told me you wanted something. You told me you wanted to play at another level. So what's stopping us, right? So follow-up is a big one. How many people have this problem? They're not slowing down long enough to create the referrals. Yeah. So here's the deal. You're losing a lot of money. You're losing a lot of money. I work with mortgage companies, and sometimes, you know, they just don't slow down. Slow down to speed up. Slow down. Get the person to a much better state. And then the last one is no person of interest strategy. That means you don't have a strategy to drive up your perceived value in the market through social media. You know, we use videos, podcasts, LinkedIn. We use everything. Now, people ask me, if you were selling real estate or LED lights or whatever, what would you be doing the same thing? You know what I say? Everything I'm currently doing, I would be doing. I'd have my own podcast. I'd write my own books. I'd write my own blogs. If I was selling real estate, I would not do one thing different than what I'm currently doing. Because money follows attention. And part of the problem you're not getting enough leads is because you're not getting enough attention for your little business. I know Mama told us some things, but sometimes she was wrong. She told us the first step was the hardest. That ain't right. Steps 2, 3, and 4 are the hardest. She also told us don't get attention. Bad idea when you run a business, right? Don't talk to strangers. How many of y'all sell to strangers every day? All right, okay. Mama's right about a lot. Those things she's not. I don't want my daughter talking to creepy strangers. But if you look at my daughter, the first thing Monty said about my daughter, man, she's got a big personality. My daughter walked through the subdivision, hey, how you doing? I'm like, sell them something, girl. Sell them, right? So here's the point. These are the 4 big missing structures. Now, what I do is I teach process because I'm an old basketball coach, and everything was process. And when we followed that process, guess what I knew? We won 84% of the time when we followed our process. When you don't follow the process, your competition is not beating you. You are beating yourself. So after a game, y'all play basketball, and y'all women basketball players in here? After the game, I'd say, did we get beat tonight or did we beat ourselves? My little 14, 15, 16-year-olds say, they didn't beat us. We didn't do what we were trained to do. Everybody follow me? We didn't go do what we were trained to do. So we train people on how to work people through a process. So here's the selling system. Starts over here with suspects, not prospects. So every week we teach you how to have a hit list. This is part of the $1 Million Machine. Got a hit list? Got a great explanation of services? Because how many of y'all sell on the phone every day? The better you are on the phone, the more you're going to sell. So we teach you a 6-step framework called the explanation of services that drives up your confidence and gives you something to say when you get on the phone. Everybody follow me here? And I always lead with what I believe, not what I do. Okay? So we teach people how to explain their services. Most real estate agents, when I call in, the first thing I'm going to ask you, hey, I like this house. What's the price on this house? What do they say? Oh, it's $399. They don't get any information from me. They don't ask me anything. Here's what's interesting. When my house was on the market, I went on a paid site who had paid to get the lead, and I went in and inquired about my own house to see what the real estate agents would do. So a company paid to get that lead as if I was a buyer. I looked at my own house, and I got one email back. And the email asked this question: would you like to know more about the subdivision? What do you think I'm thinking? No. What did I inquire about? The house. I did not get a phone call. I did not get a touch. This is on a $579,000 house. I did not get one, no more follow-up than that. How mad would you be if you were the broker paying for those leads and that was the follow-up? Right or wrong? I should have got an immediate phone call, try to get me to the property. I should have got an email showing me. I should have got a detailed information about the house, the subdivision. I should have got all that within a very quick period of time. Right or wrong? I didn't get any of that. So that was a problem. So I came in as a hit list. I'm interested. That's a potential prospect. They never moved me to actual prospect because there was no follow-up and no explanation of what's going on here. So a person emails into us, we go into our explanation of services. Here's what we believe. Here's why we believe it. Here's what it is we do. Here's how we do it different. Here's everybody we're doing it for. If we could do it for you just like we've done it for them, what would stop us from going to the next step? Does that make sense? Now, what does that give us when we're on the phone? What does a good EOS give you? Good explanation of services. Monty, what does it give you?
Gives you clarity.
That's right.
It gives you conviction.
Right.
You're speaking, you're dropping from the head to the heart.
Right.
People connect, I think, better from the heart.
That's right. Okay? When you have something valuable to say, now it's just a matter of how many people you can say it to. When I got on that show in Good Day New York, if you ever get a chance to watch the video, you need to watch it. My media coaches that coached me on what to say. They had scripted the questions. And then I got on that interview in front of 1 million people and they didn't ask me one question they were supposed to. Not one. One of the anchors there is notorious, Greg Kelly. He's on the Soup all the time. They make fun of him on the Soup because he gets off script all the time. And he got off script, man. He just started asking me questions that weren't on the script. And now it's live television. There's 1 million people watching. I'm in New York City. And you know what I pivot to? My explanation of services. Well, let me tell you what I believe. Let me tell you why I believe that. Let me tell you what it is I do. Let me tell you how we do it different than everybody. Does that make sense? What if I didn't have anything valuable to say? What would have happened? I wouldn't be back. It'd been very embarrassing. So I had to have something to say. So we teach that as part of our coaching programs. Now, so most of your salespeople don't have anything valuable to say. That's a problem. Okay? So then we move them to a prospect. This is where the follow-up takes place. So now I've explained my services and you have indicated interest, right? This is where a lot of the game even begins because now I'm going to go how many touches? 7. Because 80% of the time it takes 7 touches. How am I going to follow up with you? How? Am I going to ask this question? Do you have any questions? Oh, I was just thinking about you this morning. You were on my list. I'm just doing my due diligence. How am I going to follow up from now on? Because if you don't change anything from today, you need to change this. How am I going to follow up? I'm going to challenge them in a positive way. Hey, you told me what you wanted and we brought it to you. Have you seen enough to make a decision? What's stopping us? We lose momentum. If you got to sleep on it, you're probably not going to sleep in it. Does that make sense? If not, if you don't challenge a prospect, they'll take complete control of this. Oh, just call me back next week. When somebody says this, so when I hear that, I hear a lot of people say this, well, I got to think about it. I got to sleep on it. Got to talk to my husband about it. Got to talk to my wife about it. Got to meditate on it. Got to medicate on it. Got to pray about it. This is what you hear, right or wrong? I'm like, let's just pray right now, man. Let's just pray right now. What are we waiting on? Right? We're losing momentum. Are you an expert or not? Be an expert. Now, so this is the complete. So once you get them as clients, now you move them to promoters. And then if you do a great job, you end up with advocates. And you see how these advocates feed your pipeline? If I can ever get a person over here, it's a much deeper relationship. I've moved them to a much better state in their life. And what are they doing? They're feeding me new people. So I have 25 people here. We call this the top 25. I have 25 people here that send me a minimum of 3 referrals a year. That's 75 new opportunities every year out of 25 people. Some coaching programs are going to tell you to call 400, have a sphere of 400 people, 600 people. I do not believe you can work 400 people. What I believe is you can build a strong network of 25 great referral sources, 25, and work those sources and stay high touch and high frequency, and I believe you'll get 75 new opportunities a year. The most money that can be made in my system is right here. Because this is where the big money is. This is where you're top of my mind and you are constantly at the top of my mind. Everybody follow me here? High touch, high frequency. So that's the system we touch. All right? Now, so here's 4 things you got to be doing, and I got about 4 minutes left. I say we got to get you in a rhythm. We got to get you in a rhythm. And the rhythm looks like this. The rhythm looks like this. Every day you have got to be pitching your services to new people. New people. New money. You with me? Typically I have 3 to 5 a day that I'm pitching. So I'm on the phone, I'm emailing, I'm texting, and what I'm doing, like today, I'm pitching me to look at how many I'm doing here. When I leave here, I'm going to another event. You follow me? So now I batch people together to share my services. Right? Instead of taking a 1-to-1 meeting, I'm taking a 1-to-40 meeting. That's a much better way to take a meeting. You follow me? So for you, every day I got to get you in a rhythm. Every day I'm pitching, because I see a lot of people, I'm like, how many people did you talk to today about your service? And what do people tell me? 0. Spend all my time servicing current clients, all my time doing this. Listen, you got to go after new money every single day. Number 2, you got to be working that farm club, that $1 million follow-up. Everybody with me? You got to be going to 7 touches. So part of my day is spent pitching new people. Part of my day is spent what, Tim? Following up with people that have indicated interest. And if they indicate interest, I'm going the distance, baby, right? Now, I may make up my mind that I'm not interested in working with them. I typically make up my mind in the first 15 seconds. True story. Would you rather know in 15 seconds or chase somebody for 15 months? I make up my mind that fast. Okay? Then I spend time onboarding new customers, because here's a big missing structure for a lot of people in the room is you're not onboarding. You're not slowing down. To when you sign a new customer up, you need to slow down. And you need to love on them. And you need to welcome them. And you need to explain what it is you're going to do, because that's going to drive up your retention. That's going to help you get those 5.7 referrals. Don't just slam them in there and move to the next one. And this is something that we've gotten a lot better at. And we continue to refine this. Slow down to speed up. And then the final piece is you need to be loving on your biggest customers. If I can get you in that rhythm every day that you're working, I promise you, you will make a lot more money. Everybody follow me here. And it's not hard. It's not like I'm tackling everybody in a day. Every day I'm pitching a few new people. Every day I'm trying to close a few people. Every day I'm onboarding new people. And every day I'm loving on my biggest people. Are you with me here? So as a coach, what I'm doing is getting you in a rhythm. And I will tell you this. The people that use this system typically show about a 43% increase in the first year with me. So take whatever you're doing and multiply it by 43%. That's how much more money you're going to make with me. And some people are making a lot more than that. Okay? And I remember when Carey Ann first came to me what her goals were versus where she is today. And they're a whole lot bigger. It's on a whole nother planet. Right? It's on a whole nother planet. But you know what that woman does? She comes to class. She don't miss, because she knows I yell at her when she misses. And you know what she does? She takes it and does it. Probably better than anybody I got. She will take one idea, and within 2 or 3 days, it's happening. She don't think about it, sleep on it. It's like, I'm doing it. And that's what makes her great. That's what makes her great, okay? Now, if you're here today, I just want to tell you this. Number 1, I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank Monty for putting this together, Carey Ann for letting us have a place here. I got these people, Monty and Carey Ann, are in a program called Monster Producer. We have 111 people in that program. That's my biggest coaching program. And it is where I'm taking a lot of agents from here to there. Everybody with me? Meets once every month. A lot of accountability. There's probably some people in the room today that's saying, hey, I believe the same thing Coach Burt does. I can't see the picture when I'm inside the frame, and I'm ready to play at a much higher level, okay? And if that's you and you're interested, whether it be today or next week or next month, you're going to be interested at some point, right, Tim? You're going to be interested at some point, okay? And when you are, we want you. We're interested in you. Does that make sense? We're only looking for people who are looking for us. So if you're interested, Bill, raise your hand. You'll be here. Takesha, I got to get on a bus and go to the next stop, okay? But they'll be here. Monty can talk to you, and Carey Ann can talk to you. And let's ask them. I tell people, don't ask me. I'm the one who created it, so I'm always going to be biased, right? Ask the people I'm coaching. And when you use people, look at the capacity, demonstrated capacity of who they're working with. Does that make sense? look at their production levels, okay? So if you're interested in it today, we'd love to talk to you. Make sure we get everybody's information. We send a weekly email out. That's free to you. It's got my podcast, everything in there. I believe everybody needs a good coach in life, guys. And God bless you, and thank you for letting me be with you today, okay? I really enjoyed it. Thank you.